Welcome to Summer Stream, brought to you by the Glendale Public Library Youth Department. This week, we will be making a forest. This program is geared to children ages 6 through 12. There are a lot of supplies that we will be using to make the crafts today. You don't need to have all of these supplies because you might not want to make all of the things that I will be showing you today. Some of the things that you will need today are paper, scissors, a glue stick or tape, a stapler, or you could use tape, a foam tray, or an empty cardboard egg carton, 2 to 4 toilet tube, 1 or 2 small paper bags, crayons, markers, or colored pencils, and 1 to 4 pencils that you have found laying around your house. They can be short or tall, and it doesn't matter if they have erasers or not. Let's get started. Our first craft will be palm trees. If you look at the picture of the palm tree, you see they have a long trunk and then leaves at the top of the tree that bend down gracefully. Let's see if we can make one. The first thing that you need to make your palm tree is your stem, and you can use a toilet paper tube to get started. I covered mine in green paper, but palm trees have a brown trunk, so you could just use a brown toilet paper tube, or if you have a white one, you can color it with a crayon brown, or you can cover it with brown paper bag or whatever you have at home. Alright, so we have our stem. The next thing we need to do is create our branches. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll a piece of paper and then we're going to make this leaf. You take a piece of paper. I have a piece of green paper. What if you don't have a piece of green paper? What could you use instead? You could use a piece of white paper that you have at home that you can color green with crayons or pencils or markers, whatever you have at home. Now, if you don't have any white paper laying around, you can ask your parents. Maybe they got something in the mail that you can use, and then you can take that flyer that they don't need anymore, and again you can color it green. Once you have a green piece of paper, then what you can do is fold it in half. And then what you want to do after that, after you have it folded in half, is you want to cut it down the middle. After you cut it, you want to start rolling it. You want to start in the corner. So you have a flat sheet, start in the corner. And you want to roll it away from you. So you just want to bend it like this in the corner, and you just want to start rolling it. So this is what it's going to start looking like. Just keep rolling it away from you, and it's going to keep getting longer and longer. And if you don't like how it looks, you can always start over. And then once you have your whole sheet, you can take a piece of tape and you can tape that edge. Now what if you don't have tape at home? What could you do? Well, then you're going to want to take your glue stick and you're going to want to put some glue right here. And I'm just going to put the tape around that edge. And then I'm going to fold it on the top and bend it over. So I'm just pinching it a little bit more than halfway, and I'm just pushing it over like that. And then just so it lays flat on the bottom, I'm going to cut this, and now it's going to lay flat on that side. So now I can put this inside of there, or since we're making a new one, we can put it inside of here and we can bend that over. And now we want to make another branch, so we're going to start again in the corner, and we're going to roll that up. This one feels a little bit tighter. I think it's going to work a little bit easier. And just keep going till you get to that edge. If you have a piece of tape, again, you can tape it. I'm going to snip this edge, and then I'm going to bend it on the top. Just flatten it down with my fingers so that it kind of makes a curve. So you can make as many of those as you want. Now we're going to make the leaf. So I started with a piece of green paper, and it's just a half sheet. You know, here's a full sheet of paper, and I just am starting with a half sheet. And then I took that half sheet and I cut it, I folded it in half. And then I'm just going to cut it into a strip. Like that. I'm going to make 2 leaves, so I just need 1 strip, because this 1 strip is going to make 2 leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in the middle the long way. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fold it down the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Mine isn't. And now you have a piece of paper with a fold in the middle. And that fold is just going to help us make the leaves look a little bit more 3D. And then we're just going to cut towards the middle of the fold, just to kind of help the leaves look a little bit more realistic. And then we want to turn it over, and we want to cut it on this side, whatever is easiest for you. Now for our leaf, we want one side of our leaf to be pointy. So I made a pointy side, and then the other side of the leaf is going to be round. So now we're going to cut off that fold. We're just going to... So now I have a rounded edge, and I have a pointy edge. And why is that important? Because usually the end of the leaf is the pointy part. So what we're going to do is pull that apart. We have 2 leaves because we folded the paper in half. So now we're going to take this leaf and we're going to tape it on here. Now, if you have glue, you can glue it on here. Tape is expensive, so you might not be able to use that, but if you have glue, your parents will let you use the glue instead. Alright, so I'm going to tape this on here just to save time. And there is one now, and I'm going to bend that down a little bit more. So there's one. And I'm going to repeat that process on the other leaf. So I'm going to tape this one down too. All right, that's our palm tree. Now you can make as many leaves as you want. I'm going to take all my previous leaves that I made and I'm going to put them in here. So now my palm tree is really full. And that's how we make the palm tree. Now we're going to make a paper bag tree. This craft is pretty easy. I embellished it with an owl sticker and I added green leaves. I'll show you how to make your paper bag tree. First, you're going to need a brown paper bag. Or what if you don't have one? What else could you use? Well, you could ask your mom or your dad or grandma or whoever you live with if you have a paper bag laying around. Maybe you just went to the donut store and you have a Dunkin' Donuts bag. Well, you could flip it over and color it brown. And you could use that as a bag. Or maybe you went out and you got supper somewhere and now you have a bag from one of the fast food places. So you could use whatever bag you have lying around. So let's just use this bag and I'm just standing it up like this. And you can see what I did is I'm twisting it like this. Now, when you get to the very top, what you can do is you can just make a few snips in there. Okay, and then what you want to do with those snips is you can twist those snips and those are going to become your branches. There's a snip. And there's a snip. And if you want, you can even rip it down a little bit further if you feel like you need more branch. And I think I'm going to cut a few more branches out. Twist that. Like that. And then I'm going to twist this piece. Like that. And then I'm just left with this piece, and so I'm just going to twist that one too. Okay. So now I don't need all of that base. I'm gonna cut some of that off. And there is our tree. So it's gonna look different. Each tree is gonna look completely different based on the type of bag that you used and how big it is. You can also make them out of regular shopping bags, but it's a lot harder and you will need somebody to help you with it. Okay, now that we have our basic tree shape, what do we need? We are gonna need some green paper so we can cut out some shapes. Now if you want, you can draw a shape on a piece of paper and cut it out, but that can be kind of challenging to make all these little cuts. So if you want to, you could just freehand cut it out yourself. have two shapes. So now I'm going to take my stapler and I'm just going to staple that to the tree. And then I'm going to do that in a couple different places. And I cut out some smaller ones too. And I'm going to staple those on here too. And this one will be my last one. Okay. Alright, well, I think I like my first one better, but this one turned out pretty good too. So now we have two paper bag trees. The first one I did, and I just added an owl sticker that I found somewhere. Or if you have some old magazines in your house, you could cut out some pictures from the magazine and you could glue it onto your tree. I hope you have a fun time with this craft. Alright, we still have two more things that we are going to do yet. So let's move on. The next thing that we're going to make are these agave plants. A lot of people have them in their yards, or if you go for a hike, you might see an agave plant there too. So we're going to make one right now. What we're going to need, this is going to be one of our agave plants, and then this is another one. So we're going to need a toilet paper tube, and I have one here. This is that same one that I covered with green paper, and all I did was I cut it into little pieces so that my agave plants could hang out inside of there. They don't stand on the table very well by themselves. Well, I guess that one does, but this one doesn't. So I just put it in there, and now it's going to work really well. Alright, so to make the plant, what we're going to need to do is start with a piece of green paper. And again, if you don't have green paper, what do? You take a piece of white paper or recycled paper and you flip it over and you color it green. And now you have some green paper. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green paper and I am going to fold it in half down the middle. Now I have the paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back open again, and I'm going to fold it like a fan, like I did here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do about a ½ inch. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's about how big the fold is, and I'm just going to flip it over and keep folding it until I have my whole sheet folded. And it doesn't have to be perfect. If your folds start going wonky on you and they don't line up, that's okay. Life isn't perfect, and we just go along with whatever we create. Alright, this last fold is not going to be a ½ inch, and that's okay. So now I have a piece of paper that looks like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it and I'm going to go back to my original fold, my half fold. and I want to get a leaf shape. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to start on one end, and I'm just going to make a round. See what I'm doing? I'm just cutting a round like this on one side. So this is going to be my base. And I'm going to keep going. And then on the other side, I'm going to make a point. So now when I open it up, I have a leaf shape. I have a base and I have the point. Now, if you didn't want to cut it, I guess we could have left it on that flat edge, but that's okay. So we have our leaf shape now. We'll just move along with that. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our leaf shapes on this side. So on this side that's rounded, we're gonna make some more cuts. And I'm just gonna go like this, and like this, and I'm just gonna make, I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, so now you can see what I'm doing is I'm making leafy points like I did here. I'm just making leafy points, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just see what you can come up with. And now I made another leafy point. I'm just making sharp points. And these are ovals, but I'm not going, the cuts don't go all the way up to the fold. They just go about halfway. And then I'm gonna make another point, and I'm gonna trim that. And I'm just gonna keep making some more points. And they don't all line up, and that's okay. Got a little funny, but that's okay. Just keep going. And now we come to the end, and I'm just gonna go like this. I don't know if you can see that. And all I'm doing is I'm getting to the top edge and going to the corner, and I'm making a sharp point. So now I've got this point that goes down. So this is what my paper looks like now that I have folded it. Now I unfold it here, and we're going to go back to our fan shape now. So we're going to go back again and just kind of bunch it back up again. Alright, so I just bunched it back up again, and this is what it looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half, and there we go. This is our agave plant. And if you have a stapler, that will definitely be a lot easier because you can staple it. Otherwise, if you have a hot glue gun at home, you could glue it together. A little bit thick, but it's, we're gonna have to try it again because my staple got stuck. But good thing I have a second stapler, so let's try that one. Okay, we'll try our other stapler. Okay. Okay. Alright, so there's our agave plant, and you can cut off the end of your toilet paper tube, and your agave plant can sit in there, or you can try to set it on the table and see if that'll work. It might work sitting there like that, and or it might not. So you can, mine looks like it's gonna sit right there. And that is how we do our agave plant.